Hey there, good Friday evening. I'm Maddie Gardner at the WBTV News Now desk with First Alert meteorologist Rachel Coulter. We are ready for some more winter weather. 3 weekends in a row. We cannot believe it. Over the next 30 minutes, we're going to get you caught up on the forecast, what we can expect across the viewing area, but also get you caught up on the news of the day. Of course, we want to start with this first alert because parts of our viewing area, Rachel, already seeing snow.
Yeah, that's right. We've had snow for several hours at this point out towards the mountains. So what I'm going to show you guys is that view from Boone right now, and this is really important for a couple of reasons. I've got the temperatures overlaid. We've been below freezing for about an hour or two now, and of course you can see some of the roadways. They're starting to see accumulations, and those conditions will continue to deteriorate from here, so that'll be something that you'll want to keep in mind, especially out towards the mountains where it has been snowing. We're just now starting to see some of that rain reach the ground in portions of the foothills, and now even inching into the Piedmont. Certainly we're going to see this picture from Charlotte change over time, but temperatures still well above freezing, so we're not expecting snow in the Charlotte metro area until later on tonight. It's 46 degrees again there. So let's talk about the impacts that we're expecting. It's going to differ just depending on where you are. The mountains, of course, seeing the highest totals. That's where we could see 2 to 4 inches of snowfall. That's going to be the case. Those higher elevations could actually see higher totals than even that. With the wind gusts a big issue, and of course the wind chills a big issue. Even once the snow moves out, it is going to be so cold and blustery for our mountain communities. And then heading into the Piedmont and the Charlotte metro area, and of course the foothills, you could still see some snow, but the accumulations don't look to be as impressive. Looks to hug a little bit closer to the flurries, the trace range there, and then more along and east of I-77. That's something that we're really noticing here with the latest trends. So Charlotte area, we're looking at rain transitioning over to snow, and that's going to be picking up in coverage from west to east here within the next couple of hours. So in between about 8-10 o'clock, we'll start to see those impacts pick up, and then eventually that transition over to snow. Winds will gust 20-30 miles an hour. So waking up tomorrow morning, not only could we have those slick spots on the roads, but we are going to be waking up very cold, feeling a little bit more like the teens. It's going to be really blustery. Ooh. So once the snow moves out, the next thing that we're going to be paying attention to, the cold temperatures.
Right, because anything that falls tonight, it sticks, can refreeze, and that can cause a problem on the roadways.
Right, and it's not something like we're going to be expecting 4, 5, 6 inches of snow in the Charlotte metro area, but even just limited amounts can do a lot. That's what we had the past couple of weeks, just shy, if not around 2 inches of snowfall in a couple of spots, and that's where we even had some road impacts across the Charlotte metro area. So timing wise of those road impacts for the Charlotte metro area, going to be a little bit closer to 10, 11 o'clock tonight. So if you have those early evening plans, you're okay. It's going to be overnight where we really start to see those issues pick up.
Makes sense. Rachel, thank you so much. We're going to check in with you in just a moment to really get a better idea of what's going on in the Charlotte metro area, but really across the viewing area. So thank you so much for chatting with us. We are going to check in now with our Brandon Hamilton. He is in Uptown Charlotte. We're pulling up his shot for you here so we can really get a better idea of what's going on and what we're seeing, because Brandon, there is a Hornets game tonight, so we want to make sure that we know what's going on in Uptown, but also how people there are preparing. So what have you seen this evening?
Yeah, Maddie, so first let me kind of set the scene for you. We've been out here roughly since about 3:30, and I can tell you, as the sun went down, so did those temperatures. It is definitely cold and chilly out here, but as you mentioned, the Hornets game is tonight. They're playing the Lakers at 7:30. We've noticed, fans, everybody's bundled up coming in and out. When we were first out here, it was those employees coming in. And let me tell you real quick, we did talk to some of the employees, the honeybees, and they told me, while we may be excited for the snow, they have to work this game, which will probably end around 9:30, 10, but it takes time for them to clean up, and then they have to drive home. So they told me, they won't be excited about the snow until they get home safely. And I think that's kind of for all of us, again, remembering just to get to your destination safely.
Yeah, and Brandon, I was driving around in Uptown earlier today and I saw some businesses putting salt out on the sidewalk. Have you seen anyone else up there preparing the streets or the sidewalks for any of this, other than just the excitement for some and the despair for others about the snow?
Yeah, so photojournalist John Sparks, who is right here on the other side of the camera with me, he noticed that brine and salt on the roads here in Uptown coming into the Spectrum Center. So we're here on East 5th Street, which is kind of directly where you walk into the main entrance of the Spectrum Center. But so we did see those preparations. But again, even as you mentioned, Maddie, seeing it around Charlotte, you still definitely want to make sure if you're coming here to the Spectrum Center, still have time, but when you leave out of here, those conditions will be different, as you know, our meteorologists have spoke about, so you still want to take those cautions.
Absolutely, Brandon. How do you feel about the third weekend of snow?
So I'm a little in the mix because, you know, I'm a natural Floridian, so this cold weather for me, I may not look like it right now on camera, but I am freezing. This cold weather is not my cup of tea, but I say that to say it's just unique to see Mother Nature at work, to see the snow coming down. You know, I'm used to seeing snow and the threat of tornadoes, rain and the threat of tornadoes, not severe weather. So to see the snow is different. So I'm kind of in between. Will I be happy when this winter weather is over? Yes.
Yes. All right, Brandon, get warm. Thank you so much for checking in on Uptown Charlotte for us tonight, and we will see you again at 11. Yeah, Uptown Charlotte is certainly getting ready for the snow. You know, the airport has had a lot to deal with lately as well. More flights canceled today or delayed, not just because of what's happening in Charlotte, but because of the weather that's happening up and down the East Coast. We want to check in now with our Nikki Hauser, who is at Charlotte Douglas International Airport.
Right. Well, right now I am standing in front of the board here at Charlotte Douglas International Airport. I want to just come around here and show you what I'm seeing right now. Zoom in on some of these delays and cancellations that could be affecting some of your flights. There's 134 flights that are going to be delayed today, according to the airport. And there's about 78. Let me just zoom in here and you can see some of them, some of that red on the board here. Here we go. So you can see some of those cancellations, one there, a couple there. So if you are traveling, definitely keep these in mind. It's going to be affecting a good amount of flights, and Saturday you could be seeing 134 canceled flights. That's what this airport is telling us. And keep this in mind, this is the third weekend that we are being affected by the winter weather, and that the airport is seeing a lot of these delays and cancellations. So maybe if you are traveling, get here a little bit early and check your flights to make sure it's all good to go. In Charlotte, I'm Nikki Hauser, WBTV, on your side.
Nikki, thank you so much. Yes, not just causing a problem for airplanes and for flights taking off, but this winter weather could cause you some issues on the road, even just a little bit of snow. Experts say the safest place to be is at your home. If you do have to go outside, take it slow. You know what I've discovered out in the snow? I'm not as good of a driver as I think I am once there's anything on the road. But we sent WBTV's Caroline Hicks to check out what road conditions are looking like, how they prepared, and how you can stay safe out there.
For the third weekend in a row, the streets of Charlotte could be blanketed in snow.
My sister, when it started last weekend, she called me and she goes, "Oh my God, I'm out to eat and it's snowing." I was like, "What are you doing? We're Southern. Go home."
Some Southerners are in awe of the white stuff falling from the sky. Others are over the hype.
Literally overboard because it don't be that bad.
Whether you're team snow or not, Tiffany Wright with AAA says you need to prepare for what's to come after the snow falls.
A lot of people say, well, I'm great in the snow, but I can tell you this, no one's really an expert when it comes to ice, right? You know, ice is so unpredictable, and we know that it only takes a small patch of ice to cause a driver to spin out.
Wright says over the past 2 weekends, the most calls from stranded motorists came in the days following the snow, when snow melted and turned to ice.
You got to be extra careful around bridges, overpasses, intersections. Those tend to be the areas where, the snow and the ice don't thaw out as quick.
She also says prepping your car before hitting the road will protect you and the drivers around you.
Remove the snow and ice off of your entire vehicle. I'm talking about the roof of your car. I'm talking about the trunk of your car, even the sides of your vehicle.
Some drivers say they will be hitting the road this weekend, but with extra care.
I just take my time. Let everybody else get ran off the road in dishes if they want to drive fast.
Caroline, thank you so much. So yes, you should be careful. AAA also recommends you pack an emergency kit. Remember that backup on the highway in Virginia just a few weeks ago because of the snow and people were stranded without food? You don't want that to be you. And we're not saying that that's going to happen here, but it's always just good to be prepared. And AAA always likes you to be prepared for any kind of weather. We know NCDOT crews have been preparing the roads across Charlotte and Mecklenburg County, putting brine out to keep people safe. So we want to check in now with the WBTV's Morgan Newell. You're live. So Morgan, you've been speaking to emergency personnel and crews, and what have you learned about preparations for the winter weather?
Considering this is the third winter storm we've seen in this month, Maddie, Mecklenburg County has this down to a science. They say a lot of the things that you are going to see, you've already seen in the past couple of winter storms. You know, CDOT crews are already out spilling brine on the roads to make them safer if you must drive tonight or Saturday. CDOT says it is in a condition B, which means all trucks and staff are activated and all routes are covered. Now, NCDOT is handling all the other roads and interstates and hope to be finished pre-treating by that 5 p.m. commute. We are getting an update that they are actually finished with that. Now, the interstates were already handled by 3 a.m. this morning. NCDOT says they will have 79 trucks on hand starting at 9 to help respond quickly and start getting roads cleared. Now, if you've been through this twice, you probably already have this, but if you don't, it's good to go ahead and mention it again. Char Mech Alerts is something you can sign up for alerts throughout the county. Government officials are urging people, go ahead and put that on your phone. You can sign up by email, phone, or text, so go ahead and do that before tonight. Reporting live in Charlotte, Morgan Newell, WBTV, on your side.
Morgan, thank you so much. Yes, important information there from Charlotte Mecklenburg. We appreciate that report. Coming up, we're going to get a look at some more local stories, including a major economic development in Cabarrus County, so stick around for that.
WBTV meteorologist Jason Myers. With winter weather approaching this weekend, we want to make sure you're prepared and you can get the latest updates on the WBTV Weather App. Here's how. Here on the WBTV Weather page, just click on the top right under Settings and make sure WBTV alerts and weather notification types are turned on. That way you can get the very latest updates with severe flooding or winter weather. Going back to the home page here, you can see the current temperatures as well as live radar, your hour-by-hour forecast, your 10-day forecast, and the latest forecast video. Even at the bottom of the page, there's a way to submit your photos. That is going to be important for us to know what's happening in your neighborhood, whether you're seeing snow or ice. We would love to have you submit your photos this weekend with the snow and ice moving in. Looking at radar, this is very important as well. You can see snowfall amounts, you can see radar as far as rain and precipitation type, and you can even see temperatures. Of course, temperatures will be very important across the area, and in your neighborhood, you can see what the temperatures are looking like. As we go back to the home page here, there's also first alert traffic, so you can even get traffic updates. Of course, traffic will be probably a big issue for anyone that may be traveling this weekend with that winter storm approaching. Again, this is the very latest way to stay up to date from the WBTV Weather Team.
And thanks for sticking with us. I'm Maddie Gardner, coming to you from the WBTV News Now desk, getting you caught up on the latest stories and keeping track of the winter weather moving into our area. You know, if you live near the new Indy paper mill, then you know some of the issues that we're talking about today. The unpleasant smell, questions about health and quality of life. Well, for the first time, we are getting a look inside the new Indy paper mill in South Carolina. The new Indy Container Board has allowed cameras inside its mill since we started asking questions about the smell the company created a year ago. WBTV got a full tour of the facility from the start of making the paper to how the company gets rid of the created waste. The company says the biggest contributor to the hydrogen sulfide smell and subsequent symptoms is called the aerated stabilization basin, and it's in much better shape. Our South Carolina reporter Morgan Newell reports.
We're thrilled with what we've done and been able to accomplish to see that improvement.
After a month of shedding the blame for an odor nuisance in the area and then several more months spent cleaning up the mess, New Indy Container Board says it is well on its way to honoring DHEC and the EPA's requests.
Efforts that we've done, that New Indy has put in place, have exceeded what EPA expected and DHEC expected. We've been quick, we've been rapid to make responses.
That's what mill manager Tony Hobson says about the facility, but what does it actually show? Here's a picture of the basin blamed creating a lot of that rotten egg odor chemical mix. Today, we saw a much cleaner basin with much less sludge. Hobson says that's because they've added 3 new surface barges and 1 new subsurface barge since cleanup efforts began. Before, they only had 1 subsurface barge working on a 63-acre basin. And the steam stripper that gets methanol and hydrogen sulfide out of what's dumped back into the basin is up and running with apparently more improvements on the way.
We're not going to stop where we are. Our goal is to continue to optimize this and continue to prove that we can keep it down at a low level.
So why did it get at a higher level in the first place? Hobson is pointing the finger at the previous owners.
We end up discovering some things we didn't recognize right off the bat. The facility was under-maintained.
And while Hobson says they are committed to keeping clean for the community,
this organization is very much about making sure that we are successful and we protect this community.
that same community is still feeling the effects of the odor chemical mix. DHEC says since January 1st, more than 1,600 odor complaints have been submitted.
It's not normal, not at all. Nobody should have to deal with that.
If my nostrils start stinging, burning, my eyes start burning, I reach for the gas mask.
Reporting in York County, Morgan Newell, WBTV, on your side.
Morgan, thank you so much. Let's go now to Cabarrus County. A major economic investment is coming there. A company, Eli Lilly, promising to invest more than $1 billion into Cabarrus County over the next 12 years. So Eli Lilly and company, they are going to bring not only that money, $1 billion, but more than 600 new jobs. This major news coming out today. The company says the investment is all part of expanding the company's manufacturing capacity and will be developed at the old Philip Morris site in Concord. Governor Roy Cooper announced the investment earlier this afternoon. He says it will help bring more jobs to North Carolina. Concord's Mayor Bill Douche also expressed his excitement at the healthcare giant coming to his city. Take a listen.
For the first time, life-saving, life-sustaining medicines will be manufactured right here. Medicines that treat chronic conditions like diabetes, Alzheimer's, and cancer. We are proud to be a partner with Lilly as they develop and produce the treatments and create hope for so many people.
Yeah, some big news this afternoon coming out. Now, the company also says some of the jobs available will range from engineers and scientists to manufacturer and operators. The average salary for these positions is set to be around $70,000 per year. That's almost $30,000 higher than the current wages in Cabarrus County. So we will keep you updated on that, certainly. Now we want to take you to Indian Land, South Carolina. Highway Patrol says Aaron Moon Kelly has now been charged in a bus crash that we talked about earlier this week that injured one of those bus drivers, and we're going to play video from inside of the bus when that crash happened. I do want to warn you, it is a little bit hard to watch, but here is the video. And again, a driver has been charged in connection with this school bus crash in Indian Land. The name Aaron Moon Kelly, accused of hitting the school bus on Harrisburg Road on Wednesday. The Lancaster County School District released this video showing the moments that the car crashed into the bus, and goodness, it is certainly difficult to watch. Another vehicle also hit the bus just before it crashed into the woods, and you can see the bus driver, who we now know was known as Miss Judy, was shaken at the wheel. Miss Judy, the driver of the bus, was taken to the hospital and is expected to be okay. We are certainly happy to hear that. We also want to get to an update this afternoon in Kings Mountain. Right now, the person who was killed after being hit by a train has been identified by police. Kings Mountain police identified a man hit by a train this morning as Michael Price. They say sadly he died of his injuries early this morning near South Railroad Avenue. No one on the train was hurt when this man was killed, but Amtrak has since resumed services. An update for you out of Kings Mountain. Also happening today, this crazy video. This is out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. A bridge collapsed. 10 people were hurt when the snow-covered bridge collapsed earlier this morning, and we have since seen so many images out of this. This happened hours before President Joe Biden was set to visit Pittsburgh to talk about infrastructure. No one was killed by this bridge collapse, but certainly some injuries here, according to officials. There were actually cars on the bridge when this happened, and the drivers of the cars ended up creating a human daisy chain to help pull people out of that, and they said that first responders had to rappel down. So we are certainly keeping you updated on that national story and what comes out of that. Again, that is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The weather wreaking some havoc across the country tonight. Blizzard warnings are happening for at least 6 states along the East Coast tonight. That massive nor'easter storm is beginning to bear down on the region. We're going to turn now to CBS News' Michael George, who has the latest.
The salt is out, the shovel's ready as a massive winter storm takes aim at the East Coast.
And you're stocking up with groceries?
Yeah, just ahead of time because you never know what happens. It's always better to be prepared.
The storm is expected to track just off the eastern seaboard. Winter storm watches have been issued from North Carolina all the way to Maine. The exact path could still shift, but on New York's Long Island, officials are asking residents to get ready for the worst.
Let's think about getting prepared, getting ready, getting smart, and being safe. Those are the key things we need to remember for this weekend.
Forecasters say the storm will hit hardest on Saturday, dumping up to 2 inches of snow an hour. New York City could see a ½ foot or more on the ground, but the heaviest snow is expected in New England. Boston could see 2 feet or more, and when the storm arrives, it may be as a powerful nor'easter with hurricane-force winds and sub-zero wind chills.
It sounds like there'll be power outages just because of the heavy winds. They're predicting 50 to 60 mile an hour winds.
And there's no relief down south. Much of Florida is expected to see below freezing temperatures that could set new records. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
And we also want to give you an update on COVID-19 here in Mecklenburg County and really across the area, because tomorrow there will be a free at-home test kit pickup happening in Mecklenburg County, but some of the details of this have changed. So let's go ahead and give you that information. So initially this test kit giveaway was going to begin at 10 o'clock in the morning, but because of that winter weather, officials are hoping that some of that will melt and get off the roads and make it a little bit safer for you to get out. So instead, you can pick up free COVID test kits if you live in Mecklenburg County from noon until 3 o'clock. 2 different locations for you here: J.M. Alexander Middle School and CPCC's Harper campus. So there are 4 test kits per car. You can just drive through and they'll drop them off. We went and got video of this happening a couple of weeks ago, and it seemed to be a very efficient process. You don't have to get out of your car and no appointment is necessary. So just keep that in mind. If you need a COVID-19 test kit, you can get 4 test kits per car tomorrow in Mecklenburg County at J.M. Alexander Middle School and CPCC's Harper campus. Now we want to talk about N95 masks. Yes, in the battle against COVID-19, the Biden administration now says they are rolling out 400 million N95 masks across the country. They're going to be given out for free at locations including pharmacies, grocery stores, and health centers. And local pharmacists tell us that people have really started calling and asking about these masks as the effort to get everyone an N95 catches on. Unfortunately, they may be a little difficult to find for a while. Walgreens has started giving out the mask today at select locations. We checked around at a couple of stores and the signs still say that they are waiting on those to come in. Now, according to our partners at the Charlotte Observer, Walgreens personnel say participating stores are going to have signs indicating availability that the mask will be given out on a rolling basis. Meanwhile, pharmacies in CVS, Walgreens, and more are expecting more of those masks in the next couple of weeks. One local pharmacist at Premier Pharmacy on Monroe Road says they have not gotten their shipment yet, but providers are telling them they should get them this week.
A lot of those things are in the beginning phase of production or shipment. So I would say just check back with your local pharmacies frequently to see, if there's any updates. So sometimes you can call at 9 a.m. and there's no updates available, but by the close of business, we may have a different answer for you.
Important information there if you do need an N95 mask. And keep in mind that pharmacists also told us that the supply chain issues and low staffing because of COVID-19 have been causing a delay to some of their deliveries. So you might have to be patient a little bit while, but many places say they should have those masks back in stock by February. And the Biden administration says this program should be fully operational by then. Coming up, we're going to get another check of your forecast with First Alert meteorologist Rachel Coulter.
When we issue a first alert, it's because you need to be aware and know that inconvenient weather is coming.
2 first alerts, one today for showers. Then as we go into Friday and
Which
Friday
simply means that your plans may be impacted. As we've seen, not everyone experiences the same weather when a system comes through. WBTV's First Alert team of meteorologists gives you the area's only certified, most accurate forecast and will help you prepare. Don't forget to set up custom notification on WBTV's First Alert Weather app for where you live.
We're back with First Alert meteorologist Rachel Coulter at the WBTV News Now desk, getting another update on the winter weather. Some parts of our area, Rachel, already seeing snow. And what can we expect going forward tonight?
Yeah, that's right. It's going to be a little bit busier later on this evening. And of course, this is the view right now out to Beach Mountain. Of course, in the mountains, it's been snowing all afternoon long, and we are just now starting to see some of that snow accumulate on the roadways. So hazardous roads will be expected from here on out. Of course, you can see the parking lot there covered. So your treated roads are where it's been a little bit more traveled there on the left side of your screen. Better conditions than what we're seeing on those untreated roads, those side roads, even the parking lots at this point out towards the mountains, where not only a winter weather advisory is in place for Ashe, Watauga, Avery counties, but above 3,500 feet in Avery County, we also do have that winter storm warning. You'll notice that the foothills don't have a winter weather advisory. Doesn't mean you won't see snow. In fact, we're already starting to see reports come in of a changeover to snow out towards Hickory at this point. So you could still see some accumulations, but they're going to be lower and less impactful than what we'll see along and east of I-77, primarily where that winter weather advisory is in place tonight through Saturday morning. Of course, we also have wind advisory and wind chill advisories in place for the mountains, where it's just going to be so blustery and cold with sub-zero. Feels like temperatures as low as -15 in some of those higher elevations. That's how cold we're talking about for tomorrow morning. Let's talk about temperatures and radar now. So I want to break this down for you, what we're seeing now, what we can anticipate from here with your hour-by-hour forecast, and then of course those cold temperatures that we'll have into the weekend. So it's 29 degrees in Boone, and this is why we're starting to see those road issues. It's below freezing there. We're still in those mid to upper 30s where we're seeing reports of snow come in, and that's certainly going to be a possibility with that rain changing over to snow. And then we're still in the 40s for portions of the Piedmont area. So zooming in a little bit closer, you can see the snow that continues to impact portions of the mountains. But now even to the north and west of Wilkesboro, out towards Hickory, you see some green on your screen, but I'd imagine we're seeing some of that snow mixed in as well. Zooming in a little bit closer to Charlotte, still technically dry, especially looking from radar there in the Charlotte metro area, but you don't have to travel far to the north and west to start to see rain. And again, every report I've seen so far in this area from Statesville down towards Lincolnton and Newton, northern portions of Gaston County, still all coming in as rain at this point. Let's zoom out a little bit more, show you the big picture. So we've got that low pressure system developing off the southeast coast, and that is just going to rapidly intensify. And then we have that Arctic cold front that's going to push through with an area of low pressure moving overhead tonight out of the west. Lots going on, but of course the main impact's going to be felt to the north and east. That's a blizzard warning you see there in orange. We're used to the purples and the pinks indicating the winter weather advisories, the winter storm warnings. But when you start to see orange, that's an area that could see 1 to 2 feet of snowfall. That does include the Boston area. So just a heads up if you've got some family out that way. If you do have travel plans to the north and east this weekend, those may be difficult to successfully travel up that way. It's just going to be so much impactful snow and wind in that area. Let's talk about what we're expecting here at home, though. This is what radar could look like just within the next hour and a half or so, with more rain inching its way through the Charlotte metro area, but that changeover to snow taking place just to the north and west of Charlotte, mainly over the foothills at that point, and then changing over really in between that 8 to 10 o'clock time frame. Still looks to be maybe on that tail end, so closer to 10 o'clock, changing over to snow, and thereafter is when we would anticipate some of those road impacts. So if you have some additional travel plans here the next few hours, you really should be okay unless you're in the mountains and especially northwestern portions of the foothills. It's going to be later on tonight, overnight, and into tomorrow morning where we could see those slick roadways. Even though we're not seeing significant snow accumulation in the Charlotte metro area, even just a little amount, especially as those temperatures drop below freezing overnight, will certainly allow for some issues and slick spots on the roads. And then we're going to be seeing those really cold conditions move in. So you can see those temperatures dropping below freezing overnight tonight. Will finally start to dry out by the time we wake up tomorrow morning. You look at the next few days, you see improvement into Monday, but we have to get through tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, and Sunday morning first. So you see 28 on your screen, probably gonna feel more like the teens. 30s will more feel like the 20s tomorrow afternoon and evening. And then by Sunday morning, we're starting off at 17 degrees. We'll feel like that tomorrow morning. And there's those negatives as you head out the door in the mountain area. Not too much improvement. And you know, Maddie, this is what we've been talking about all week long. You've got what we're gonna be seeing with snow, and then we're gonna be, of course, impacted by the really blustery conditions as well. Even if you have afternoon plans tomorrow, we're gonna have sunshine, but it won't feel nice. So you're gonna wanna stay bundled up no matter where you are across the area. And there's your 7-day forecast. And this is another thing we've been talking about is finally we're going to be warming up into next week.
You have to look really far ahead,
yeah,
in my
really
opinion.
far ahead.
In my opinion, Rachel. So
Exactly.
3 weekends in a row, our area has seen snow.
Right.
How is this going to compare to the past 2 storms that we've had?
You know, every single one of these has been very different. You know, the first one we had a mixture of ice and snow. We're not expecting ice with this system. And then last week, it was already really cold when the snow started. And so we just had that nice fluffy snow. This time around, even though all of the amounts across the Charlotte metro area especially are going to be pretty comparable, it's all going to be different. You know, this time around is starting as rain and then transitioning over to snow. Our temperatures are dropping as the system moves through. So, of course, that's going to make it take a little bit longer for the roads to see impacts than what we had last week, but still impacts nonetheless. And that's why we're expecting rain first, then snow. So if you start to see the rain, don't be caught off guard and think, oh, we need to see snow now. It's going to transition from rain over to snow later on tonight. We also had snow accumulate a little bit faster and quicker in the evening hours just about a week ago. This time it's going to be overnight and into tomorrow morning where we see most of those impacts.
Very interesting. Rachel, thank you so much for giving us that update. We are going to be checking in with you right here on WBTV News Now. You can watch us wherever you stream WBTV News, whether that is on Facebook, WBTV.com/live, Roku, Amazon Fire, or Apple TV. We're going to have updates throughout the evening with Rachel and the First Alert Weather team, so you know what to expect as that winter weather moves through. And then we will see you right on TV at 11 o'clock for WBTV News at 11. Thank you so much for joining us right here on WBTV News Now. Stay safe and stay warm.
Yes, definitely.
We'll leave you with a live look at Uptown Charlotte.